Okay, so we're back with the Z900rs, and today finally going to tackle the rear end and put on that new tail tidy, because again this is a really big lump of plastic that I really want to clean up with some giant indicators. So let's make a start. So I got the tail tidy from R&G Racing Products. Pretty much get everything you need in the kit, some shrink wrap, a light for the license plate, reflector, nuts and bolts, even some zip ties, other bits and pieces. I've basically been waiting for these, some much smaller indicators to go on the back, so I really want to clean up the rear end. R&G do have some indicators that go with this tail tidy, but I wasn't really into the style of it. I actually wanted these kind of smaller, more angular little pieces. So yeah, let's make a start and see how we go. So the first thing we've had to do is get the seat off. That's what it looks like underneath. Battery and all the other gubbins going on. But what we need to do is take this piece off. And according to the instructions, it's just these 4 bolts here that we need to remove to then take this piece off, which gives us access to getting that off. Looks straightforward. Let's see how it goes. Okay, well there you have it. So once you've done the 4 bolts, there's the 3 additional little kind of rubbery kind of pop rivets, I guess, just to kind of hold it in place. Yeah, pretty much everything is exposed now. So I think we can actually start disconnecting some of this. Okay, now this piece needs to come out. I've removed some bolts here and here, and that should just slide out. Okay. Oh, so this is connecting to the lock actually for the seat. So like a little bracket where the seat locks into. Now we need to disconnect these electronic components. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so I'm down to these kind of 4 main bolts that are actually holding this whole piece on from the underside. If you're doing this, just warn you, these ones are really tight. They never planned for someone to take those off, so you've really got to give them some welly. Feels like it's going to snap the tool, but you get a pop and then it kind of twists freely. But just be warned, need a bit of elbow grease for those 4 bolts. And we are free. Already looking a bit nicer and a bit cleaner, starting to get an idea of how that's going to look now. So now we have to remove the plate and disconnect all of this wiring, because we actually don't really need any of this anymore. We just want this cabling to connect up to everything else. There it is, big lump of plastic. Got all the bits I need off of it. Table full of bits. Now let's start putting this together. So just as a little side note to the electrics, you need to cut off the original connector from the original indicators and then kind of cut and shut those on. Okay, so before I actually bolt this thing on, I just want to make sure all the wiring kind of works. Pretty quick and simple right now. I haven't cleaned it up. I just want to make sure it all kind of turns on. So key on, the plate light comes on. That's great. Let's put the hazards on. Excellent. Right turn, left turn. So far so good. Now that we're sure that it all works, I've just tidied up the wiring a bit. We've got some shrink wrap, bit of electrical tape, some zip ties just to get this nice and neat and running through. And I think we're about ready to put it on the bike. So let's see how it looks. Well, it's on and it works. So that's good. So now it's just a case of tidying all this back up, getting the seat back on, and seeing how it really looks. And there we have it, all fitted. Much cleaner, much tidier. Let's just check it all works. Best way is use the hazards. Excellent. So, job done. Really happy with it. So much weight taken off this back end. It's awesome. I think it's definitely making the bike feel a bit more sleek, which is brilliant. I'd say all in all it was maybe about 3.5 hours work. Again, I'm not a hugely experienced bike builder, but I'd say it wasn't too tough. Fairly straightforward. If you have a basic understanding of nuts and bolts and some basic wiring skills, you should be okay. But again, any questions, please reach out. Happy riding, be safe.